Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the charts behind me, which are of Luminar Technologies, ticker symbol LAZR, and I will also briefly be going over MicroVision, ticker symbol MVIS. Towards the end of the video, I'll put a timestamp there so you can find it easily, but I did want to focus on Luminar because they had a pretty massive day, going up nearly 18% on the day, closing at a price of $1.58, but pulling back to $1.48 in the after hours. So yeah, I mean, do I think that pullback is significant? Where do I think the stock price will be going in the coming days and weeks? And how does that relate to the levels that I have drawn here on the chart, which I did go over in previous videos, but I did want to build on that prior content to get us more familiar with how that develops into these moves that we're seeing and how these levels might be significant. And so looking at the chart here, I do have this 382 level at $1.37.3. That does look like it was a level of support, as we did dip below it over the course of 3 days, but then rocketed above it. And so that 382 level is based on this Fibonacci extension here, going from the top here, hit on December 27th, down to the lows of April 18th, and then up to the highs here. And so that is how I get that extension level. It does look like that has acted as support, although we did get this fake out break below it, like I had mentioned. Also, in white, I do have this line at $1.36, which represents the opening price on May 15th. We did consolidate below that level over here before going higher, and then we consolidated above it here. So I do think that is a significant level, and I do think that it is good that we are trading on the upper side of that now, having broken through it today with this massive green candle. And then also, I do have this purple downtrend that we did break above. I do suspect that we might be pulling back to that level. That would be coming down to a price of $1.40 or $1.41. As I mentioned, we did pull back to $1.48 in after hours trading. So, 8 more cents to the downside. Perhaps we wick down to that level during market hours, and that could be a retest of the scene of the crime or a retrace to the scene of the crime, testing that as support before continuing higher. Another way to think about that is if I draw a trend line here, just being approximate from the high up here, coming down to, these wick highs. Maybe I can adjust this, like I said, approximate to get all of these wicks, touching there. That was a level of resistance. We were consolidating below that downtrend. We have broken above it. So maybe we get a pullback and a retest of that level, which could be lower than 140, could be coming down to like 136, like I said, this white line. So if that does happen, that could be a dip buying opportunity if we do wick to that level, but then close above. Of course, if we wait for it to close above and then go higher, we missed out on that dip buying opportunity, but that could be a bottoming signal that the bottom is in, with the low hit on June 25th at a price of $1.29. And considering the pullback, I think it's important for us to look at volume here. On the 21st, that was last Friday, we saw a volume going up to 10.74 million shares traded on the day, but we didn't get a big up move. We only went up 1.5% on the day. And then so here, like I said, 10.74 million shares traded. Today we saw 11.42 million shares traded. So not that much more as far as volume goes, but we got this massive move to the upside. So considering that this massive move is not backed by a massive surge in volume, there aren't tons of buyers stepping in here, I think that could mean that we will be pulling back to retest either 140 or 136, testing that as support before making the next move higher. And before I talk about the next moves higher, I did want to go back and point out where this purple downtrend originates from. It is based on these two pivot lows, one being from the low from November 28th and the other being the low from December 11th. I could adjust that a little bit, so, maybe it slants down, and here, actually, I will do that here just to see I can undo it if it doesn't look good. good. And so I'm just going to do it approximately to the low there. And yeah, I mean, we didn't break below that level. We have been respecting that as support if I do draw it to this pivot low here from January 19th. So I do think that is an important level to be considering, but I am going to leave this one locked back up here just because I like it how it was. And, I do think that could be serving as a level that we retrace to, like I said. So 140, a good one to keep in mind. I do have this blue line here drawn at 185, which is based on the low from April 9th before a gap down. But actually, if I draw that based on the close from that day, the close was at a price of 192. So a little bit higher than that, but either way, that gap has been filled. So I'm going to delete that level there. And so thinking about levels to the upside, one psychological level is definitely going to be $2 a share. And I do think that is an interesting one because of max pain. And so if I flip over to the maximum-pain.com, looking at options/laser, we can see here for the 12th, I'm actually going to switch it to the 28th so we can see what max pain is for this week. That is $2 a share. So I think that's a pretty interesting price. If I look ahead 1 week into the future, July 5th, we can see that max pain has gone down to $1.05. So if we get a lot of momentum up to $2 and close around there, the end of this week, if we can maintain that momentum into next week, maybe we start to gamma squeeze, closing above these max pains and then sending the price even higher. And one thing that does make me feel good about the 150 strike price here and the $2 strike price for last week, if we flip over to July 12th, so closing on that Friday, we can see that max pain is again $2 a share for the closing of July 12th. So, I think that it's good. Prices lower than max pain. Hopefully we can start getting this momentum to continue to start closing above max pain and then forcing max pain even higher. And then if I do flip over to the 19th, this is for the monthly contracts. I do think this will be telling about the max pain, which is at 150. So hopefully we are able to maintain at least $1.50 and continue higher, getting closes up to that level, up to $2 a share. And while I don't have it marked here, $2 is right here where the cursor is. That does correspond with the tops over here. So I do suspect there will be some resistance there. And I do think we could also be bumping into some resistance around 173 or 174 here, as it is the 236 from this Fibonacci extension that I had just gone over. But, I'm also going to do another Fibonacci retracement, but going from the high here to the low. That will give us some more fine-tuned levels that we might be looking at to be acting as support. So going from the high there at 232 down to the low of yesterday, which was 129. And so now I do have those levels marked and locked into place. I'm just going to make that retracement yellow so it stands out from the prior extension that I've drawn up there. And so it does look like we are above the 236, which is at $1.53.3, although in the after hours we have broken below it. So I think it's going to be a key level for us to be holding, really just $1.50. And, for me, I think $1.50 is a really interesting price because last week I sold a cash secured put at a strike price of $1.50 and price closed below $1.50. So I actually picked up 100 shares at an average price, considering the premium that I got for that cash secured put. I got 100 shares at $1.39. So I'm feeling really good about that. My average is right around $2.76, a little below $3 a share. And so what I have been doing, which I kind of have a bad habit of doing, is I sell covered calls for positions that I hold above my average price, just to kind of, get a little bit of money for holding the shares that I hold and, to secure profits if price does go above my price, my average price, which is $2.76. So I've been selling $3 strike covered calls, just getting $1 for each one. So nothing too crazy, but getting up to $3 a share, that is going to be a pretty big feat, as we do have all of these levels to the upside. Like I had mentioned, 173, $2 being just above the golden pocket here, ranging between the 618 and the 65% retracement levels. And so I feel pretty safe selling covered calls with a strike of $3 a share. I don't want to sell my position, but I do want to capitalize on the moves that we're getting while also not risking selling what I'm holding. And so actually getting up to around $3 a share, there is this 1618 level from that extension that I just drew. I didn't expect it to be there, just kind of, popped up there as I drew it. And so, I feel pretty good about price not being up there by the end of this week. I think we'd be lucky if it gets to $2 a share. But I do think that as the weeks go on, I think it gets to be more and more likely that we're getting up to $3 a share. So I do think it's starting to be a little risky, maybe by the end of July, as far as selling covered calls. But, that's just the way that I like to play it. And, everybody's different. And one thing that does suggest that we will be going higher than $3 a share is this uptrend here, which could potentially suggest that this is the start of a neckline if we are to retrace getting back up to that level, which would be getting to around $2.50. Quite a ways for us to go before we get there, but that could be the formation of a right shoulder here for this inverse head and shoulders pattern, and then that could be taking us to this measured move, which would actually be a little bit higher. So if I'm expecting us to get up to there, let's say about a month from now, right around July 19th, so the expiration of those monthly calls, that would be bringing price up to around $3.62. So, this might very well be the start of a very, very bullish rally. However, we just need to see some volume behind it. So maybe we see a pullback, maybe we close around 150 this week. But if we can keep that momentum going, I think we could definitely be seeing $2 a share in the next couple weeks. And if we, again, keep that momentum going, maybe seeing 250 by the middle of July, and then we might be looking at a measured move up to 360. So I just think the Luminar chart looks really, really nice. I'm excited about it, but also I'm bracing for a pullback. As I mentioned, I am a shareholder, and this one always surprises me to the downside. And so I wouldn't be too surprised if we do get that retracement to 136. But if we do get that, I think that would be a good dip buying opportunity, as this 18% move, nearly 18% move on the day, is nothing that we want to be letting slip by us, as we have broken from this downtrend, we have broken above this purple downtrend, and we have reclaimed a level, the 236, at $1.53.3 as far as the daily market hours candle close goes. So I think it looks really good. I'm really, really excited by it. But of course, I'm a little bit biased, so take it with a grain of salt. But now switching over to MicroVision, ticker symbol MVIS. I really don't have that much drawn on this, and I actually am just including it here because it was requested. I think that there is some expectations that this could be squeezing. Maybe it related to what's going on with Luminar and this being a sympathy play, or maybe that there's just something going on in the LiDAR space that could be suggesting that these stocks will be running, whether it's based on fundamentals or something going on with the options chain, something like that. Here, looking at this, what I see is that we broke below this 1618 from this retracement here. And, that's going to be a tough level for us to reclaim, an important one for us to reclaim. That is at $1.14. So I would look for that. Then the next level up that's likely to be resistance is $1.38. And then this one stands out to me as being more notable, right around $1.70, as we did get some consolidation here. This is going to act as resistance, and we did get some consolidation over here with that level acting as prior resistance, so it may be acting as resistance again. And then getting back to $1.84. The last time that we were at that price was in the middle of March, but really like the last time that we were holding that level before a run-up was in November. And so I think that there might be some people who are holding the bag here. They were expecting this run to continue higher. It didn't. It faded. It broke below their price, and they did not sell. They did not take profits, and they did not have stop losses. So I think if price does get back to 184, there may very well be some resistance there. But I do think that it could be squeezing violently higher to the upside, Who knows? But one thing that stands out to me, sorry, I'm just kind of doing this live here. I didn't want to spend too much time doing the prep. I wanted to do it here so I could get the video out sooner. If I do draw a parallel line here, a parallel channel, I should say, from the lows over here, just being kind of approximate and up to the tops here, it does look like we are in this channel that we have broken above briefly, and we did, kind of not really respect it that much over here. But since, the middle of March, we have more or less been residing in this downtrending channel, and we're at the top of it, and we basically got rejected from it today. Of course, so you could argue that it is arbitrarily drawn, so take it again with a grain of salt. But I think that where we're currently at 107, I think that's a pretty important level. If we don't see strength over the course of the next few trading days, the next 2 days of this trading week, I think that this could start to fade and we could pull back to retest either the bottom of this channel or maybe right around the middle of it, forming a double bottom before we get that move to the upside that we really want. But over the next couple of days, if we do get a move to the upside, closing the week above $1.14, I think that would be set up really, really nice, especially if we get some volume backing it. Just like with Luminar, I don't really see that much volume backing the move that we saw today. Of course, it's only up about 5%, nearly 5% on the day, which is not so different from what it was up a couple days ago on the 24th, going up over 6%. Volume was not really that high over the course of those days, about 2.15 million shares traded, less than 2 million shares traded on the 24th, whereas on the 21st, we saw 6.63 million shares traded. So I just don't think that there's enough volume backing it. But if we do get a surge in volume, if we get, another 6 to 7 million shares traded tomorrow, I think we could be seeing price getting up to $1.14. I think that's going to be a key one for us to hold. But if not, if we do get a pullback, the prior low was 86.3 cents. So I'd look for that to be acting as a bottom. But those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.